Welcome, everybody. How is everybody doing? I'm here, the Sporting Sith, with my buddy, Big Rican. How are you doing, Mikey?
I'm good, man. I'm glad. I'm very happy you asked me to do this with you.
Dude, I figured I had to get this done. I have to get this out there. You're my guy. You're everything that I got to, I owe you a ton. I owe you a lot. So I really got to make sure that you you are top front and center on this one with me, buddy.
Bro, you've called too many good games of mine. I don't owe you a thing. You don't owe me a thing.
No.
I'll start calling you Crash again.
All right, we are here. We are going to start talking about the college football playoff, the 12-team football playoff. We all know that the 4 teams that are going to be playing this year, we all know what's going to be going on with that. You got Georgia playing Ohio State. You got TCU playing Michigan. I love it. I think they got it right this year. This year they got it right. But moving forward, I am so pumped. I don't know if they saw my previous videos or what, but I am so pumped. They are finally moving to 12 teams. Granted, we still got 2 years to go, but what's your thoughts on that, Mikey, moving to 12 teams?
It is long overdue. The CFP was a great concept, poorly executed the first however many years. I have always been a big proponent of conference champions should be the ones to play for a national championship. I was telling you before we came online, the hat I'm wearing, which is the Ohio State CFP hat from 2016, was the first year we had a non-conference champion in. Was I happy? Yeah, my boys played. They got smoked, but my boys played. I was not happy because they did not win the conference. So this gets all the conference champions in when we do the 12. And then it starts to show the committee starts to show their colors at this now, because now a lot of the bias that we are seeing coming out of the committee, because there is, let's just be honest, you got to put it away.
Yeah,
because you're going to have teams that are going to earn spots in this thing that aren't going to be popular and aren't going to be necessarily what the fan would pick. Now you have to pick the teams that deserve a shot.
Yes, and that's what I love about going to the 12 teams is there's going to be a lot less moaning, bickering, complaining about the bottom 3 or 4 that get in versus only 4 teams getting in, and now you have a whole hodgepodge of they don't really know what's going on, and now we're just going to throw this team in because they looked good all year round. And it's like I understand the optics of everything, and optics do play very strongly into managing an opinion or coming up with with a decision as far as who we're going to put in and who we're not. And I totally get that. I totally understand that. But I think going to 12 teams is the way to go. I'm so pumped they're doing it. I still have a couple tweaks here and there as far as how I would do it. As far as the 12 teams, I can't complain 100%, but of course, what I do, I got to complain a little bit. So I got to add in my 2 cents. Let's just talk real quick about what my playoff bracket would look like.
Okay.
In the 12-team situation. So my scenario is I would have the top 6 seeds going to the top 5 Power 5 conference champion, and then the number 6 seed would go to the top ranked non-Power 5 conference champion. So this year there would be Georgia, Michigan, Clemson, Utah, and Tulane. And that's how they would be seeded 1 through 6. Or I'm sorry, Kansas State 5, Tulane 6. So that's how you would have the top 6 seeds. I think they're conference champions, even though Tulane is only ranked, I think, 16 or something like that as of right now. I still believe they deserve that 6th spot. Even if it was, say, Cincinnati, they deserve that spot. But I believe using the 6th spot for the highest ranked non-Power 5 conference champion is the way to go, not just throwing them down at the bottom of the bracket and saying, good luck, guys.
Let me ask you a quick one.
Sure.
Of course, last year we had the bracket breaker in Cincinnati going in the 4 to play in the playoff. In that scenario, if there is a non-Power 5 team that does what Coach Fick did last year, which was phenomenal, are you going to put them higher, or you still want to keep that non-Power 5 in that 6?
I'm going to put them higher.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to put them higher because if you have a Cincinnati who's ranked 5 in one through out of the top 25 college football playoff rankings, if you have a Cincinnati that's ranked 5, then they should get that 5th seed.
Okay.
And or 3 or 2 or 1 or 4 or whatever. I don't think that they should get shunned just because they're a non-Power 5 conference. And
very cool.
If they've done what they're supposed to do, they run the table, they win their conference. They've checked every single box, but the only box that they haven't checked is that they're not a Power 5 conference. That to me is like that doesn't make any sense to me. So give them what they've earned. Give them the ability to showcase what they have. And you know what? And they've deserved it. They've earned it. They deserve it.
Awesome. Yeah, I just, when you had mentioned that 6th spot being the non-Power 5, I just want to make sure you and I were on the same wavelength, because I loved that Cincinnati was in there last year.
Yeah, only if the top seeded non-Power 5 conference champion is not ranked in the top 5 or 6.
Yeah, then, no, I got you.
Then they should be slid into that 5th spot or that 6th spot.
Gotcha.
So in my bracket with that, I would have, like I said, the top 6 would be Georgia, Michigan, Clemson, Utah, Kansas State, and Tulane. Now, to round out the 12-team bracket, you would have your 6 at-large bids, handing out to teams that are highest ranked, that are not conference, the highest ranked non-conference champions. So TCU, who is ranked 3rd, but they're not a conference champion, they would get that 7th spot. Ohio State, ranked 4, did not win the Big Ten. They would get that 8th spot. Alabama, Tennessee, USC, and Penn State to round those out. There's your 6 at large. Now you still can have a Notre Dame get in there if they're ranked 8. Okay, maybe they're ranked 8. They didn't get into the top 4, but they got into the 12-team playoff. And I think by doing that, yes, they're not a conference champion, so they're kind of snubbing themselves by not getting the top 6, one of the top 6 seeds, but that's on them. They should be in a conference. There's only 3, 4, or 5 maybe FBS.
There's 4.
There's 4 FBS independents. I mean, if you're going to go that route, then you're making your own bet at that point.
I agree, and not for nothing, just on something I expanded on my show a few weeks ago, with the new media deal the Big Ten signed, which kicks ESPN out of the Big Ten totally. Notre Dame's been on NBC for how long? I mean, since we were kids.
Yeah.
NBC's one of, I watch them. There are people I talk to who think it's going to be the ACC. Watch them end up in the Big Ten.
Yeah, you got USC and UCLA coming in.
What the?
So,
sorry,
I don't understand, but at the same time, you still have Michigan and Notre Dame has always been a big rivalry. For some reason, whenever Notre Dame plays Ohio State, it's like one of the most watched games ever, all the time. And they don't even have a true rivalry in the sense of the word. They just always draw huge crowds. It's Notre Dame and Ohio State. That's 2 of the biggest fan followings in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have USC, who's coming into the Big Ten. USC and Notre Dame always have the huge, what is it, the Shillelagh Bowl? Is that their game?
I have no idea what it's called. I
think that's what it is, for the old Shillelagh or something like that.
It's been a whooping most of the time, but I don't know.
lately it has been.
Yeah.
But it would make the most sense for Notre Dame to join the Big Ten geographically and given the just the teams that they would play.
Yeah, and just to expand upon that just a little bit, they're as far as why USC and UCLA came to the Big Ten, it's this.
Oh, of course.
It's this.
Of course. And they're going to get a lot. They're going to get a lot more of these East Coast primetime games. They're going to get a 12:00 game at Michigan. They're going to get a 3:30 game Eastern time zone at Ohio State. Mm-hmm. They're going to get these daytime primetime games, even if it's a nighttime primetime game, say an 8:00 game, under the lights at Penn State. Can you imagine?
The whiteout.
Yeah, can you imagine UCLA coming to Penn State for a whiteout for a
Chip
night
Kelly
game?
Wouldn't know what to do.
So I mean, granted, it's still they're 3 hours behind us, so it'd be 5:00 in the afternoon for them at home. So they'd still be able to watch the game, and you would be able to showcase a primetime game underneath the lights an Eastern time zone game where the entire nation would be watching, and not
Yeah.
just the people that are staying awake till 3 o'clock in the morning to watch you guys while you play out on the West Coast.
Not this guy.
No, not me either.
I got to tell you something quick off topic. My wife always used to get mad at me because I wouldn't stay up till midnight on New Year's Eve.
Oh.
So this year, to be a wise guy, I went, "Hey, honey, I guarantee I'll be up till midnight on New Year's Eve this year."
Well, yeah.
She goes,
I think you.
"What time's Ohio State kick off?" I said, 8 o'clock.
Yeah, and with that being in the playoff, it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of TV timeouts. That's probably going to be a 4.5-hour game.
Oh yeah, and I'm not going to be. Thank God I'm off till the 3rd.
Nice. So, moving on, let's get into the 12-team playoff bracket. If the bracket was to start this year, we know the playoff bracket is not starting for 2 years. Bummer, because I would love to see it happen. But hey, we got to wait. Good things come to those who wait, and I'm willing to wait. Mm-hmm. Hey, who knows? Maybe in 2 years, they still have some time to do some tweaking here or there to really make sure that it's lined up properly. You never know. There's still that time. So
I am praying for Bama to have to come up north in December.
Well, did you take a look at my bracket?
I did.
My bracket, actually, well, let's go back and just look at the matchups for my bracket real quick. We'll do that real quick. So we know the top 6. We know the bottom 6. So the first round, now you do play at the higher seed's home field. So the higher seed does get home field advantage. So here, your wish is my command. Alabama has to come up to Ohio State and play in middle of December.
Dude, you don't even know. This is what I pray for.
I mean, I would have to give that game to Ohio State.
I would have to say Saban's going to leave that facility running away.
So yeah, so I that's that. So you get your wish. In my hypothetical world, you get your wish.
You're a wonderful human being.
10v7 Tennessee at TCU. That would be that game could end up being 87-79.
Yeah. Now, if Hendon Hooker was healthy, like if we're using this year's teams, if Hendon Hooker was healthy, that'd be a barn burner.
Yes, very true. Absolutely.
But my favorite first round game, if I can skip ahead for you,
sure,
is Kansas State Penn State.
Penn State has to go to Kansas State. That would be a good game.
But I think the one thing we'd see in that game would be a lot of defense.
Yes.
K-State can play defense even though they're a Big 12 team, and we know Penn State likes to smack people around.
They're called linebacker U for a reason.
Amen, brother.
And then on the other side of the bracket, you have USC having to go to Tulane.
They got to go to New Orleans?
Yes. You have USC having to come to Tulane. Under my bracket, because that's what I love about this. You're rewarding the highest non-conference Power 5 team a home game.
Agreed. Now that could be dangerous.
They don't get a bye because they're not ranked high enough, but they're rewarded with a home game.
That could be dangerous if they got to go to New Orleans.
But still, they have to come over to New Orleans. It's not the 3-hour trip. It's a 2-hour trip because New Orleans is an hour behind us still. So, but still, USC has to go to New Orleans and play at Tulane. I mean, that would be awesome. And if I'm Tulane, I'd put that game in the I don't know what it's called now. Is it still called the Superdome? I don't even know if it's called the Superdome anymore.
Now, see, that's where I disagree. And the reason I disagree with that is this. If you're doing a playoff where you want to reward the teams, and you just refereed in the Division II playoffs,
yeah,
where you have home games,
yeah,
play it on campus. First of all, we all know if what you did with the 8-9 happens, Ryan Day's playing that game in a horseshoe 10 times out of 10.
Of course.
TCU is going to want that on campus. They're not going to want it in Jerry World.
Yes.
Kansas State is not going to want that game somewhere else. Play it on campus. Don't let it, because I guess they said in 2 years, if it's close enough venue to your school that you would still have a home field advantage, you can move it to an indoor venue.
Yeah.
Make these boys from the South come up and play in the cold.
I agree, but at Tulane, it's not going to be cold in that aspect. But
Tulane, it's not going to be, but the other ones, it could be.
Yes, absolutely. So in that aspect, I still have USC beating Tulane.
Mm-hmm.
and what's his name's going to have his nails painted, I'm sure, nice and pretty. So,
what an idiot!
I can't even tell you his name. That's because I don't really watch you. I didn't really watch
Caleb
USC
Williams.
Caleb Williams. That's right. Because I didn't really watch USC all this year because of the West Coast stuff. And
he won the Heisman Trophy. We should probably know that one.
Well, yeah, he did, but again, I would have no idea because I didn't watch him. I watched him against Notre Dame, and that's pretty much it. I think that was the only game I actually got to watch him in.
I didn't watch him at all.
Yeah. So I have USC beating Tulane, going on to play Clemson. I have TCU beating Tennessee in a barn burner of a game, but of course Hooker's injured anyways. So if we're playing with this year's teams, I got TCU winning that game. So TCU would have to play Michigan in the second round. I got Ohio State beating Alabama. Ohio State would take on Georgia. So you already have your TCU versus Michigan and your Ohio State versus Georgia for your second round matchup. And then down here, I would have Penn State beating Kansas State.
You have the 12-5 upset, as do I, sir.
That's a big upset. It's 12v5, but it's Penn State, man, and they can just pound the ball. If the quarterback plays well, and he played well against Ohio State for 3 quarters. I know your boys just ran the ball down their throat the whole day, so it was a different animal. The Ohio State-Penn State game was close. It was very well played, and then you had the avalanche at the end. Tualele just went off. Yes.
But they can play, and if that quarterback is right, he's going to be phenomenal. Hang on a sec. It's too hot. My bald ass head. I go down to skin now, dude.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Yeah, well,
mine's still there and not quite graying yet. Shockingly.
Well, yeah. Remember, my kids are 21, 19, and 20 months.
Well, I have 11, 8, and 9 months.
I was going to say, we're on somewhat of the same wavelength. I got a few more years in between.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's go on. Let me ask you this.
Sure.
Would you give Tulane a shot at a close game against USC if it's on Tulane's campus?
For a vast majority of the game.
Okay.
I think the overall speed, size, and depth would just end up taking over. I would have USC winning probably 34-24, 34-21.
Okay.
But kind of pulling away at the end there. Like maybe it being like 2017 going into the fourth quarter, something like that. With USC just basically running them ragged in the fourth quarter there.
Sounds like a plan.
That's about what I would have it, roughly. So all right, now let's go backwards. We'll start at the 4 seed Utah. So we'd have Penn State playing Utah at a neutral field. See, in my bracket, I would have the first 2 rounds at home, but I know with the New Year's 6 contracts that they have, they want the 4 final. I can't think of what the word is now. They want the 4 second round games played neutral, and then they want the 2 semifinal games played neutral, and then they want obviously the money for the national championship game. So
so basically, you got the Rose Bowl.
Pretty much, yeah. You would have Penn State going to the Rose Bowl, and Utah not having to travel very far for that. But yes, that's probably what would happen there.
I got Penn State in that game.
I do too. Even though Utah picked off USC twice, they're the only team to beat USC this year. I have Penn State beating Utah as well in this hypothetical bracket. So I have Penn State going to the Final Four on that side.
Yeah, me too.
So there's really not much to talk about with that, just because it is so hypothetical that we just kind of got to say, I have Penn State beating Utah. It's just going to be a smash mouth game, but that's how I have it. It's going to be close. It would be a close game. It would be a very close game. But that's just kind of how I would have it.
Yeah, and Cam Rising and the quarterback from Penn State are basically the same guy.
Yes. Yeah, they're very interchangeable.
Whoever plays better.
I'm not going to lie, man. Looking forward, looking ahead, I can't wait to see what Drew Aller does at Penn State.
He's going to be good.
like coming from over here in Medina, from my backyard over here from near Cleveland, Ohio.
What I can't wait for is next season. What people don't know is Kyle McCord was Marvin Harrison's quarterback in high school.
Oh, wow.
So I don't think Marvin's going to miss much.
No, not at all. All right. So
the kid from Medina is going to Penn State?
Yeah, he's there now. He's a freshman.
What the hell is Ryan Day doing?
I don't know. I don't think he's as much. I think he's more of a pro-style quarterback. And Ryan Day kind of has that hybrid quarterback.
Yeah, because CJ can run hybrids. The ball. Yeah,
he's kind of straying away from the Urban Meyer quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not going so far away that they're non-existent. He definitely likes to use a hybrid.
Yeah,
for sure. Now moving on over to the other side of the bracket, we got USC who beat Tulane playing Clemson.
I have USC.
See, I got Clemson. In that game.
They have too much problems at quarterback.
I don't disagree with you, but Dabo Swinney, he just knows what he's doing over there. And when they get in the playoff, when they get in that playoff mindset, man, they are dangerous.
They are. I agree with you. He went from Watson to Sunshine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You can't go from pro, all American, Pro Bowl future quarterbacks, probably Hall of Fame quarterbacks. I'm putting Lawrence in that. I think he's going to get there. He's in Jacksonville, poor guy, but I think he has a Hall of Fame ceiling.
Oh, absolutely, he does.
But we'll see how that goes. So you have USC, I have Clemson. That's where our first disagreement. But hey, you know what? That's why you play the games.
Exactly.
That's exactly why you play the games. That's why we're finally getting this 12-team playoff. We're not supposed to pick it the same one every single time. It'd be boring if we did that. So moving up and this bracket is the hypothetical bracket still. Just got
exactly
that. So anyway, Tennessee and TCU. We both had TCU moving on. You right? Because of Hooker being injured and whatnot. So Michigan playing TCU. I got Michigan. Their defense and their running game is just too good.
I want you to see how I actually wrote it if it'll focus.
Of course you did. Of course you did. Why would I expect anything else from you? Why would I expect anything?
I also have Team Up North for that exact reason.
That's funny. But hey, I'm here. I am, and I'm all red. I got my Darth Vader baseball jersey on.
Darth Vader's a different animal when you root for blue. He's a different animal, so that's cool. I, of course, came with the 4 in a row. Big Ten. I need another one. You guys are killing me.
It's gonna be a little while,
dude. Let me ask you this question, and I would love an honest answer out of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we in the midst of the second 10-year war?
I think we are. Unless for some reason Harbaugh jumps ship and goes to Indianapolis.
See, I see the Bears.
I see Indianapolis because he played there.
Played in Chicago too.
Yeah, he did. But but with Jeff Saturday and everything that happened last weekend,
Chicago's got the quarterback already.
Yeah, but I don't know if Harbaugh likes those kind of quarterbacks though.
Cap, he went to a Super Bowl with one.
Yeah,
and I think we can agree Justin Fields has more arm talent than Colin Kaepernick.
Oh, that's a no-brainer.
I'm just saying.
I'm not even opening that discussion. I'm closing that discussion right now.
There's no reason to open it. It's a guarantee.
So we both have Michigan moving on.
Yes, we do.
Or in your
Team Up North,
Michigan, because apparently you guys don't use M's. Apparently in Columbus.
No, sir, we do not.
So, all right, moving over to the other side, Ohio State and Georgia.
Yeah, come on.
I know I'm assuming that you're taking Ohio State.
Your assumptions are correct, my friend.
And I'm not taking Georgia because I dislike Ohio State. I'm taking Georgia because I just believe that they are number one for a reason. They are just an all-around stacked team. Stacked.
Agreed. I think and hopefully you'll be able to when I do mine next Friday. I think this was the best draw for Ohio State in this year's playoff. I'll go into more depth as to why. But yeah, I did this for a reason though.
Of course. This is my show.
Yeah, well, no. Wait till you see what my final game is.
Oh, nice. Nice. Hopefully you're foreshadowing things of 2023.
Oh boy.
All right. So you had Ohio State, I had Georgia. That's all good. So my final four would be Georgia, Penn State, Clemson, and Michigan. Your final four would be Ohio State, Penn State, USC, and Michigan.
That's correct.
Both our final fours are stacked.
Yeah, it's an all Big Ten final on the one side, and it's an old school Rose Bowl on the other.
I'm shocked that you have 3 Big Ten teams in the final four. Now we're looking at what was it when Kentucky and the ACC was loaded, and they'd always have the 3 out of the final 4 in the March Madness brackets.
With my thought,
March Madness, I don't know if I'm going to get docked for that.
You're not going to get docked for it. My thought on this though was the draw for each of the Big Ten teams was actually doable.
Yes, I agree. I
mean, if it was crazy, I would have been like, okay.
I get you. I totally hear you. But let's move on with this hypothetical. I have Georgia beating Penn State going to the final. I have Michigan beating Clemson and going to the final. I have Georgia playing Michigan in the final. I am not trying to homer this. I would have Michigan beating Georgia simply because of their running game, their ability to control the clock, keep Georgia's offense off the field while their defense stays off the field and rests. And I just have a feeling that Michigan fares better and matches up better against Georgia than anybody else that's listed right now. That's
and especially this year.
Yes, agreed. Especially this year, not last year. We're talking this year.
Exactly. So I have an Ohio State Penn State semi, and I have a team up north USC semi. Well, guess what? We are getting what everybody in the world would want at that point in time. And we are getting a rematch of the game in the national championship game. And in this season's hypothetical.
Yes. Los
Angeles, California, SoFi Stadium, where they just had the Super Bowl. And if I may, the best Super Bowl halftime show I have ever seen.
I can't argue that.
But I have Ryan Day avenging his only loss of the season.
That would make sense.
It's very tough to beat a team twice in the same year in college football. It's been shown. It's been shown several times. I mean, what Utah did this year, you really got to take your hat off to them because they didn't just beat USC twice; they whooped USC twice.
Yeah, that's obviously the exception. That's not the rule. That's definitely the exception.
Because even if you look back when Ohio State played Wisconsin a few years ago, 2019 in the Big Ten championship game, they had put it on Wisconsin earlier in the year.
Yes,
and they were down 2 scores at halftime.
Yes. Yeah, it's just a matter of figuring out the team that you're playing, and making adjustments, and having a time to rest up and kind of get some players back healthy and do all that fun stuff. And it's a little different atmosphere.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So moving on to the 12-team playoff, as it would be this year, moving forward. So they do have the top 4 seeds going to the top ranked Power 5 conference champions. I get it. I understand it. Georgia, Michigan, Clemson, Utah. Those are in order, the top ranked Power 5 conference champions. They might not be exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, but they are just the highest ranked Power 5 champions. So with that, the first round matchups would be the 8 and 9 would have Kansas State at Tennessee.
K-State. Hooker's hurt.
Yes, K-State would move on to play Georgia, and I think that's pretty much across the board there. Now going across the other side, 10-7. USC at Alabama.
Bama going away.
Bama. I agree. Come down here. We'll do 11-6. Penn State at Ohio State. That's like that. Flip a coin, man. Flip a coin.
Honestly, and that's the beat a team twice in the same year.
Yeah.
Flip a coin. I have the Bucks. Who knows what happens?
I would have Ohio State in that game just because it's in Columbus.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge advantage.
Oh yeah.
Anytime you can get a team in the horseshoe, it's almost guaranteed. Almost guaranteed.
Almost. Hey, listen, as tongue in cheek as that was.
Yeah, exactly.
You're absolutely right, and that's just the way it is.
Glad you caught that.
Come on, man.
Hey, man, I still love you, regardless.
We've been doing this banner crap for almost 30 years. I mean,
30, almost 40, man. Since we were what?
90, 94.
30 years, 35 years.
94.
35, almost 35 years.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe we're that old.
John, what happened, man?
Let's not go there. Now we got 12-5. Tulane at TCU. Now this is where I disagree with the bracket of what they want to do as far as just sliding the highest ranked non-Power 5 conference champion into a spot there. I still think that they should be rewarded as a conference champion, but hey, that's my opinion. That's not what we're looking at right now. I got TCU wiping Tulane without a doubt. And that's not even as close as Tulane would be with USC. That would be just a wipeout, just a blowout game. So we got Georgia playing Kansas State, Michigan playing Alabama, Clemson playing Ohio State, and Utah playing TCU. So far, I think we're in agreement with every game that we have.
Yeah.
So I think, and that's the issue that I have with the bracket set up the way it is, the way they want to use it, is I don't think you're getting as good first round matchups. But again, my opinion, and we all know what opinions are like.
Exactly. But the other thing too is it depends how it shakes out, because we're talking 2 years out. You're talking Hendon Hooker won't be there. Bryce Young won't be there. CJ Stroud won't be there. You have guys, Stetson Bennett will not be the quarterback at Georgia.
Tennessee might not even be there. Georgia might not even be there.
We don't know.
Themselves might not even be there.
Look, we could also have, as crazy as it sounds, if it's the first year, you know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see Colorado there in the first year.
That would be. I would love that. Give him 2 years.
Coach Prime? Yeah.
Give Deion 2 years over there. Give him 2 years over there. He'll be all right. He'll be all right.
He's going to be good this year.
Honestly, all he's got to do is make the conference championship, and show up, and light him up in the conference championship. So you can have a 3-loss Colorado team in the conference championship beating a 1-loss Washington.
It just doesn't sound right.
It doesn't, but we're 2 years out. We're 2 years out.
I know.
And I don't think USC and UCLA will even be there by then.
No, they won't be there by then.
So it's gonna be. It could be Colorado and Washington. Did I just predict the future?
Listen, you know what would be nice to see if the Pac-12 did this? To see like a Civil War or a Apple Cup and all that stuff be pre-made, done again in the conference championship, because they're not going to have anybody there.
No, yeah, agreed. So I have Georgia beating Kansas State.
Yeah,
I'm gonna come down here to Utah. That's gonna be a good game, man.
This might be the best game in this bracket.
I agree. And this one is, other than the Ohio State Penn State flip a coin, this is another flip a coin. And the fact that it's a neutral field, I would probably have to pick err on the side of TCU.
Same here. I have TCU in that game too.
So, and we'll move over to Ohio State Clemson. I got Ohio State beating Clemson.
Same here.
10 out of 10 times.
This year. Especially now.
Yeah, this year, for sure. And then moving up, got Alabama against Michigan.
This one could be a dogfight.
I can't just write off Saban. I just can't. I can't write him off.
I have Bama here for one reason. It's on a neutral field. If he had to go to the big house, I take Harbaugh, and I can't stand Harbaugh for a lot of reasons, not just because where he's coaching at, I would take Harbaugh 10 times out of 10. Saban on a neutral field, I can't pick against him.
Mm-hmm. I can't entirely disagree with that. But where I do, Michigan would have to keep it a close game in the first half.
Yeah, they can't get boat raced.
Yes, like they have a couple times this year. But they've managed to let their run game and their defense just completely dominate the second half.
Yeah.
You can't do that with Alabama.
No.
They would have to come out with the same fire and intensity that they did against Ohio State.
Yes.
And I don't know what happened, but after that first drive with Ohio State, I don't know what Michigan did as far as making adjustments, but I couldn't believe it. I was shocked.
That was more. The Bucs lost that game for 3 reasons. 1, Ryan Day got scared. I honestly believe that in his play calling, which unfortunately happened a few times this year. 2, unforced errors. And 3, if G. Scott doesn't headbutt that guy in front of the ref on the sideline, it's 1st and 20, and they score on that drive. They were having their way. They got 29 yards in three plays. I'd have gone for it on 4th down there.
Yeah, probably. So so as long as I'm going to pick Michigan in that, just because if they can keep it a close game in the first half, I think they take over in the second half and continue to dominate with their defense and run game. Mm-hmm. So I would go Michigan in that aspect there. Obviously, if Alabama is up 17 by halftime, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Just start the buses. It's done. So my final 4, I would have Georgia. What did I say down there? TCU. Ohio State, and Michigan.
So we'd get in the semis what I had in the final on your bracket.
Exactly.
So the only thing I'm different is I have Bama there.
Okay. So you would have 2 SECs. I have 2 Big Tens.
Yep.
And then we'd have the Big 12 and SEC on the other side there.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, man, let's start over on the right side of the bracket there. You got Alabama, Ohio State. Mm-hmm. I got Michigan, Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Neutral field. Rematch. Either way, I think Ohio State wins either one of those games.
I do too. And the reason I think it's with your boys, it would be because they saw him once. I think Jim Knowles will not play cover 0 as much, which killed them. And as far as Bama goes, Bama's defense showed a lot of weakness this year, especially in the middle of the field. And with Stover, and then you have your slot receivers who are just absolute gazelles. Look, they can, if they're on, they can beat anybody.
Agreed. I completely agree with that. So,
can I interrupt you for just a second?
Absolutely.
Cavs 114, Milwaukee 106. It just went final.
Wow, Cavs are good, man. Cavs are good.
I love it.
Donovan Mitchell must really have not enjoyed his time in Utah.
Which he
just came out and voiced recently, but he must really not have enjoyed it because he has been absolute lights out.
Here's my connection to him. Donovan Mitchell's father works in the front office for the Mets.
Oh wow, nice.
For like the last 30 some years.
Obviously he went to Utah. I didn't realize the man was that good.
I didn't either.
Or is he just in the right situation?
I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest with you. Because remember, he had to do everything scoring in Utah.
Well, yeah.
Where he is now, he's got Darius, he's got Jared Allen. Jetty Osman hits 1-3, and then like 8 of them come out of nowhere. I'm sorry. I had to tell you that because I know
it's all good. It's all good.
We both have a vested.
Save that conversation for another time. But
we'll do a hoop episode. Trust me,
for sure. Hey, I'm the sporting Sith for a reason, right? I gotta do sports. I gotta do all sports. I can't just focus on football.
Absolutely,
I gotta start doing all sports here, and I gotta do my Star Wars stuff too. So. That's why I got both there. So
I'm down for that too. We get Mandalorian come back beginning of next year. I'm in, bro. I'm in.
Dude, I'm so pumped for Ahsoka and Mandalorian 3. I can't even. I'm telling you, I told you earlier before we even got on camera that I'm going to have to do an Ahsoka preview.
Listen,
sure.
That's my girl.
I know that's going to be a. Plus, they're doing it the right way. Filoni is going to do it right.
My oldest boy, Zachary, was big into the Clone Wars and then Rebels.
Yes.
So when she showed up, when Bo-Katan said, "Go to the planet of Corvus, Caladan, and you'll find Ahsoka Tano," I went, "My God!"
Yes. So, but hey, sorry, we got off track. We started talking Star Wars. Keep on us. Stay with us.
We're here. Come on.
So we got Ohio State on the one side there, and we got Georgia versus TCU on the other side.
I think it'll be closer than people think.
I agree.
Because Georgia has a problem with mobile quarterbacks, and Georgia has a problem with defenses who can stop the tight end and the running back out of the backfield. Stetson Bennett's a great quarterback, but he's not a wide receiver type quarterback. CJ Stroud's a wide receiver quarterback. Agreed. He will put the ball on your numbers. He will throw a ball like at the end of the Rose Bowl last year, or even the ball to Harrison in the Michigan game. Just no defensive back can touch it. It's in the perfect spot at the perfect pace. TCU can take care of Stetson Bennett. I think Georgia wins, but I think TCU will keep this thing a game, and they know how to win close games. That's a trait.
I agree 100% with that statement. I think Georgia wins, but I think TCU has the model, just like Michigan has that same model to beat Georgia. They just have that model to be able to hang with them long enough to catch a break
and to make a play. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, teams
I still think Georgia wins.
Yeah, and teams that know how to win close games, John, are the ones that find a way to win. Mm-hmm. The O2 Buckeyes, they were not the greatest thing on the planet. They found a way to win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, your boys last year.
Yeah,
they were phenomenal, but they had to find a way to win because of the deficiencies they had.
Yeah. And then Gal just completely got exploited in the playoff.
Look, Georgia was on a mission after they lost the SEC championship game. They were on a mission.
You say they lost it. I say they laid down for it.
Oh, you mean they threw it? Oh, God, yes.
But you know what? I'm not going to sit here and I can't say that. That's a little bit too much. That's going a little bit too far. I mean, it has all the recipe is there.
I'll say it for you.
The recipe is there for it. It's just put it in the oven, put on 350, and let it cook for a little while.
Do the old Ron Popeil, set it and forget it.
Yeah. But I'm not gonna. I can't go to that length and say that it was. Yeah. I'll just stop there.
I got you.
Final Georgia, Ohio State.
We know who I'm picking, but I have a reason. Again, the middle of Georgia's defense has a problem, in my opinion. They're the offense that can exploit it. The question is, can their defense keep the running backs and the tight ends in front of them? And I think they can. And that would be listen, when I do mine, hopefully you're with me. I'll go deeper into it, but since it's your show, I'll just give you my pick. I got my boys winning the national championship in this bracket.
With that in my bracket, I did have Georgia beating Ohio State.
Okay.
In the bracket, in the actual bracket this year, like again, another coin flip, another toss up. With it being it's a different atmosphere, semifinal versus or a quarterfinal versus the national championship game.
Yeah.
In my bracket, they would be meeting in the quarterfinal. In the actual bracket, they wouldn't meet until the final, the championship game. So, with that being said, I don't know if Ohio State has the experience to do what needs to be done, but they definitely have the athletic ability and they have the players to do it.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think Ohio State would beat Georgia in a championship setting.
Yeah, I mean, this year's going to be tough because it's in Atlanta. Yeah. It's a home game for Georgia, basically.
Yes.
So that's going to be rough. But listen, crazier things have happened.
Yes, absolutely. But anyway, with that being said, dude, I think we're about ready to wrap it up here.
Yeah.
I had a great time talking with you on this stuff, man.
Me too, bud.
I love talking sports. It's one of my passions. It's something I absolutely love to do. If you were gracious enough to stick with us through the 45 minutes here, please go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and drop a comment. I will gladly reply. I have no problem replying to any comments that are made, good, bad, indifferent, whatever. Let me know. I love the feedback. Also, check out some other videos that I got up there. Big Rican, check him out on all social media platforms. Love the man. He knows what he's talking about. Wait until you see his baseball videos. The man foams at the mouth for baseball.
And after this morning, I'm really foaming at the mouth for baseball.
We will get into that at a later time.
Yes, sir.
Now, thank you so much for joining us. Love you all. Guys, have a great night. Take care.